Hello, Namaste Yogis. Welcome to our Meet a Yogi series with my guest and good friend, Catherine Carrigan. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to the show, Catherine.
Hi, everybody. Namaste.
Catherine, I never know how to introduce you because you have so many trainings under your belt that we could simply spend all of our time together simply listing everything that you've done. Today, since we're talking about your yoga background, I decided just to only mention just your yoga trainings. And so what I'm not mentioning her training in nutrition, her training in energy work, so all of her other training and fitness besides yoga, just only her yoga training. And so you have 6 yoga teacher trainings under your belt, 2 of them with our teacher, Eric Schiffman, which is how we met. We went through one of those yoga teacher trainings together. And then she was also trained, she's also trained at the 500-hour level with the Lighten Up Yoga. She has of the 6 200-hour certifications, Integrative Yoga Therapy, the White Lotus Foundation, the Atlanta Yoga Fellowship, Lighten Up Yoga, and then the 2 yoga teacher trainings with Eric Schiffman that I mentioned. So that's only your yoga teacher training. And then I also have to mention the fact that Catherine is a published author who has had her books in the Amazon bestseller list, and most recently your book, and I'm going to ask you the title so I get it exactly correct.
Yeah, the difference between pain and suffering. And that book has an appendix in the back with the 41 yoga exercises that I use most often to get people out of pain.
And they're beautiful photographs, and it's a wonderful book, and it just went to the #1 list on Amazon for, I think it was like 12 days in a row. Is that
22 days
22
in
days.
seven categories.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So, Catherine, today we're talking about 8 Minutes to Inner Peace, which is a course that we've been working on. And in fact, the instructional designer who helped us to develop the course is on this call as well, listening in. And we're getting ready to launch that course shortly. So anybody who wants to can get in on the mailing list, and then we'll let you know when it comes to be launched, or you can just write in the chat and we'll let you know about it. So Catherine, I was wanting to learn a little bit about how you developed this sequence of yogic breathing exercises.
Okay. So first of all, those of us who've practiced yoga, we know how profoundly beneficial that can be. And those of us who've practiced pranayama, the breathing exercises, we know and we've experienced how you can go into a bliss state just doing pranayama. And in my private practice, I work with a wide range of clients with a lot of different health issues. And how I came to develop this sequence was I was working with a gentleman. He was in his late 30s, I believe, and he had uncontrolled high blood pressure to the point where he was experiencing kidney failure. And he would have to get up at 4 a.m. and leave his family to go to a dialysis center about 5 days a week and sit there, having his kidneys taken care of with uncontrolled high blood pressure. So he's on medication, it didn't work. And he, not only was he suffering greatly with the health issues, he was not able to work. And I wanted to teach him some breathing exercises so that he could learn to shift his blood pressure naturally, because the medication wasn't working. He was under tremendous emotional stress, tremendous financial stress. And I remember he was sitting in my office and I was teaching him these exercises. And then finally I thought, I'm going to create some videos so that he can just watch these videos. And I put them on my website. And then I started writing articles about it. And then I would end up in teaching people, again, a wide variety of people. For example, when I'm working with anybody with anxiety, I always teach them these exercises. Now, there again, those of us who practice yoga and practice pranayama, you know, a good pranayama practice for us may be 20, 30 minutes. However, when you are in a state of high stress, you know, your thought is, how quickly can I feel better? So what I decided to do was take 8 breathing exercises that, you know, those of us who love yoga and pranayama, we all are familiar with, and put them in a sequence so that people can shift out of their negative state as quickly as possible. Because when you experience being able to shift out and just change your mood state in a very short period of time, you go from feeling hopeless and unempowered to feeling back like you're in control of this. And, you know, I'm human. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have worries myself. And there have been periods in my life where I, you know, use this. And a lot of times I, as a regular practice, when I wake up in the morning, I pray and I meditate, and then I do my pranayama. And again, I wanted to make it quick so that people could make those shifts. And in a nutshell, the other thing that I did is when I teach, I've taught yoga for 21 years in a Catholic church here in Atlanta. So I purposely do not use Sanskrit. I've had too many instances where people walk up to me after practicing with me for 6 months and say, this is against my religion. So I just use plain English. I don't want to make anything seem threatening or scary or foreign for people. So the 8 minutes to inner peace is basically inhale, exhale, circular breathing. And those 3 exercises can be done lying down. So let's say you wake up in the morning and you start those, and then you sit up, you do bellows breath, you do breath of fire, you do alternate nostril breathing, you do bumblebee breath, which is my personal favorite, and then you do what we would refer to as ujjayi breath, and I call it ocean breath. And just by doing that, you can move a tremendous amount of emotional energy and feel dramatically better. And I have had those on one of my websites, Unlimited Energy Now, and I would periodically write articles about, you know, how this is helpful for high blood pressure or insomnia or anxiety. And then Suzanne Dolin and Lisa Barnstrom and I have gotten together, and we've created an online course, which Suzanne is about to launch on her SADHANA catalog site. And again, our hope is that we are going to launch this and share this. Now, part of the reason that I'm so passionate about this is that we live in a very drugged up society. The leading cause of death for Americans 50 years and younger is actually drug overdose. So people are also about 12% of the population of adults in the US is on antidepressants. So we're living in a culture where people are really searching for answers, and they're heavily medicated, and yet the medications are not solving the problems, and in many cases actually causing death. So it's very important for those of us who practice yoga and who teach yoga and who practice natural healing that we share these drug-free tools and empower other people so that they gain control over the way they feel and they can feel better easily. And so back to you, Suzanne.
Yeah, no, it's such a great explanation. I had a couple of questions as a result of the things that you brought up. So one is, I'm curious to know about the person that you originally developed these exercises for, about, you know, what, did he see relief with these? Did it help him?
You know, that is a great question, because, you know, I fully believe people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it is my hope and my prayer that these breathing exercises helped him. And again, I wanted to create the videos so that he could go home and practice. So I taught him in person, but I thought by having the videos that he would, be able to follow along. Unfortunately, he only worked with me a couple of times. And again, I know that it's very difficult for a man who's married with children and he's not able to support himself and support his family. And I definitely cut him a break. And I would have frankly continued working with him for free, but he had a lot of shame about not working. And that was part of the stress. So, for me, I feel like he came into my life, as a prompt to make this video to help other people. And then again, now when I'm working with people, I can just say, and here's the link and go watch the videos. And now I'll be able to say, and go to the course that Lisa Barnstrom and Suzanne DeLynn and I created.
Yes, absolutely. I also want to say for people who are aware, that we're talking about the fact that there is all this material out there. The advantage of having it in a course is that we put it in a really structured way so that you can go through and understand each of these practices. And we kept it at the level that you've talked about, which is pretty, simple and high level. This is not, an in-depth course on breath mastery work. It's a course, an introductory course that's really geared to sort of helping you to have an entryway on. One of the things that Catherine mentioned is there are a lot of these teachings are sort of shrouded in mystery, and particularly these breath work, things were introduced to me in almost a scary way, so it's really nice to have something that just says, here's something simple that you can try. It's very low risk. You're not doing these things for hours and hours at a time. So it's not like if you were to be doing them for a long time and truly shifting your energy in dramatic ways. I also wanted to talk about this word pranayama, and I wanted you to talk about that, Catherine, because we haven't really introduced the word that we keep throwing around. And I'm pretty sure most of the people on this call are familiar with the word, but I want to still get it out there. What is the literal meaning of the word, and also how is it normally interpreted, and what is the effect of doing this work?
Okay, so in yoga, we talk about the koshas, and another way of thinking of the koshas are energy sheaths. And there's Anandamaya kosha, which is basically our spiritual body, which controls our Vijnanamaya kosha, which is our mind. Our Vijnanamaya kosha controls Anamaya kosha, which is our emotional body, which is the largest part of us. And our emotional body, the Anamaya kosha, controls our Pranamaya kosha. Now, your Pranamaya kosha includes your breath, your chakras, and your acupuncture system. And the Pranamaya kosha controls your Manamaya kosha, which translates as the body of food. And that's what we think of as our physical body. So when you my little puppy here, who likes to end up showing up in all my videos.
Tennis balls.
I thought I got rid of all the tennis balls, but I was wrong.
You will never get rid of all the tennis balls.
It's just, I can never get rid of. So prana, of course, means energy. It's another word for chi. And yama is practice. So it's basically practice breath work. And as we know, those of us who practice yoga has the most advanced system of breath work of anyone. And being a long-term healer, I've practiced many forms of transformational breath work, which is very profound for, again, moving energy, for clearing, deeply suppressed emotions. But being the yogi that I am, I always go back to pranayama because in my mind, it's the most elegant. It's the most balanced. Sometimes when I practice some of these other breath work where you're basically hyperventilating and it's very forceful, and excuse me for saying this, I almost feel like it's emotional vomiting. And one of the things that I love about pranayama is that even though it's moving and releasing suppressed emotional material, you leave the person in a balanced state, which I feel as a healer is extremely important, because it's important to pull up this suppressed material, but you don't want to leave people in a state where they're in their emotions, they're in their trauma, and they haven't, gone back to a balanced state. And I feel that pranayama, of all the breath work that I practiced and studied, our yoga breath work, and this specifically this sequence is very elegant. When I'm teaching it, I sort of explain to people, sort of like exercise. You warm up, then you kind of get into it, and then you kind of cool down, and you end up in this blissful state. And it's really empowering when you can go from a state of anxiety or a state of depression and move that energy. And even if you can only, reduce your stress by 10% or 2% or any percent, then you're back in your power. You realize that you're actually in charge of your vibration, you're in charge of how you feel. And even if you feel really bad, if you can start letting yourself feel a little bit better, and then you realize, hey, I can get 2% better, and maybe 5% better, and then 10% better. And just by breathing through it, you can move through the challenges of life a lot more easily. And I think it's, again, given the heavy reliance on medication that we have in our society, it's really important for those of us yogis and our natural healers that we share this information. It's free, it's drug-free. The only side effects is you're going to be healthier and happier and calmer and more at peace with yourself and more empowered to handle the challenges that you face.
Sorry, I muted myself while we were talking. Absolutely. And we're going to practice in just a minute. Before we start that, we had a question that came in on a chat, which is, do you have to focus on something you want to clear? Or will things clear up just by setting a general intention when you practice?
That is a wonderful question. And when I generally teach the 8 minutes to inner peace, I just teach it as it's itself. In that I don't feel that it's necessary to have an intention. I always trust that your prana, your life energy is going to go where it needs to go. A more advanced practice, and I'll share this since you asked, there's an exercise that I also teach called the container exercise, because sometimes what happens for us as human beings is we are facing very difficult emotions. We're facing, really severe depression, very high levels of anxiety. There's challenges in life that are real challenges. And sometimes what happens is that we get overloaded by the intensity of the feelings. So what I do, and this is separate from the 8 minutes to inner peace, but I'm just going to go ahead and share it with you, is I tell people, in your mind, visualize a container. Now the container could be as big as a city, dumpster, or as small as a teacup. But what you do is you set your intention, you're going to feel that much of your feeling. So I'm going to fill up that teacup, or I'm going to fill up the dumpster. And then you feel your feeling, and then you do another visualization where you get rid of it. You empty the teacup. You have the City of Atlanta Sanitation Department come and pick up that dumpster and haul it off. But by starting by setting your intention that you choose the container, you choose how much of that feeling you're going to feel. because over the years I've worked with addicts of all kinds, alcoholics, drug addicts, workaholics, exerciseaholics, foodaholics, you name it. And one of the common denominators, I feel, is being overwhelmed by our feelings. So by putting you back in control, like I'm only going to feel this much, and then letting it go, and then you shift your energy, you get up, you change the channel, and you go do something else. Again, it puts you back in control, and you're not needing to take a drug, eat something, smoke something, shoot something up your veins in order to cope with your life. So hopefully that answers your question. So you can let me know if that answers your question.
Just if you're to KP who's in the chat who asked that question, if you can just indicate whether that answered your question or not, and we'll just wait a minute for that response. I thought that was really interesting. I've never heard of that container exercise before. I am, and she says she's still simmering, but wow, thank you. Oh, thank you. Catherine's so knowledgeable. We could like run this for like 24 hours and we can.
Yeah, that's actually from yoga therapy. But again, I've used it with actual drug addicts. And again, you know, this is all about giving people tools so that we can handle life. I mean, you know, life is not always easy, even for those of us who practice yoga.
Yes.
You know?
I think that's why a lot of us come to yoga, you know.
Absolutely.
So on when you're in a path of yoga, you know, often that takes you on a very deep journey where you're confronting, you know, more and more interesting challenges in your life, because as you have the tools and you're able to just handle more and more and grow more and more through that. But it's not always easy. I think that image of yogis as these sort of blissed out people is truly incorrect and harmful to people. So let's dip down and do it, because it is late at night and we are wanting to sort of wind down for bed. And also, we're just so interested. So, but before we do that, Catherine, give us your website so people can find you.
Sure. It's CatherineCarrigan.com. It's CatherineCarrigan.com and UnlimitedEnergyNow.com. And if you go to UnlimitedEnergyNow.com and click on the menu bar fitness and scroll down, you'll see 8 minutes to inner peace, lots of articles about it, free videos. And before we start the instruction, I have to put the tennis ball away because I've got my little baby here going crazy. So I'm going to take a second to put the tennis ball away.
So while she's doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the course. And so what's with the course, what we're doing is also providing access to Catherine through a Facebook group so that people can have a conversation with her. So in addition to giving the structured videos, and there's explanatory information for each of these practices so that you can understand the benefits of each one. But in addition to that, there's also access to Catherine Carrigan through the Facebook group that we're going to be creating for the course, which will be a private group just for people in the course. So we want to let you know about that. If you want to get on the mailing list, it's sadhanacatalog.com, and I'll type that into the chat bar. And if you go there, there's some free downloads. And if you download any of those things, you'll get automatically added to the mailing list. I really like it. We have also Catherine's meditation, loving kindness meditation, is available on Sadhana Catalog. So it's SADHANACATALOG. That's catalog in the American spelling. And also you can find me at SuzanneDulin.com, SUZANNEDULIN. And we'll be putting all of those things into the description of the YouTube video. And please hit subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Okay, we're going to pause. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a second video in this series where we're going to practice. So just go to the next one. Okay, we're going to stop the recording. Thank you so much, Catherine. Bye. See you in the next video.